Welcome viewers. Today we will be discussing about the role of technology in defining structure. So, technology plays an important role in defining organizational structure and it also helps in improving organizational effectiveness. The learning objective here is like identify which technology helps in improving organizational effectiveness and how it relates to organizational structure. Describe the contribution of Perrow's theory, Thompson's theory and how it helps in or what is its relationship with the structure. Further, we will also summarize the concept of routine runs through most of the studies on technology, identify influence of levels of analysis of technology structure relationship, effect of technology on complexity, formalization and centralization. First of all, we will discuss about knowledge based technology as given by Perrow. Charles Perrow's contribution we will be discussing with background information and then discussing about the task and variability and problem analyzability as two important dimensions on the basis of which technology can be defined. The routine type technology, engineering technologies, craft technologies, non-routine technologies. Further, we will also evaluate how it helps in defining the structure and effectiveness. So, routine tasks and complex tasks. Perrow has identified there are two dimensions which underline the difference between routine and non-routine or complex tasks and technologies in terms of task variability and task analyzability. Let us understand what are these task variability and task analyzability in with some examples. Perrow's two dimensions underline the difference between routine and non-routine or complex tasks and technologies. What is a routine task which is repetitive and non-routine is something which is new and task variability and task analyzability. The number of exceptions like new or unexpected situations in our day to day work, we are not always facing the similar kind of situations. There are some new situations, unexpected situations that a person comes across while performing a task. And when the task is standardized or repetitive where there is less of variability, task analyzability is the degree to which search activity is needed to solve a problem. That means, we need to find out some alternatives to solve a problem. A task will be very complex, it involves cognition, it involves your thought process. It is unlike the repetitive or routine kind of task is when the task is analyzability is required when the task analyzability is very high when the task is routine. There are four types of technology. One is routine manufacturing which is characterized by low task variability and high task analyzability. So, what we have discussed so far is task variability is the number of exceptions or new or unexpected situation that a person encounters while performing a task. It is low when task is standardized or repetitive, and task analyzability is the degree to which search activity is needed or alternatives need to be thought of to solve a complex problem. Task analyzability is very high when the task is routine. Routine manufacturing characterized by low task analyzability is very high when the task is non-routine. Four types of technologies: routine manufacturing, crafts work, engineering production and non-routine research. What is routine manufacturing? Characterized by low task variability and high task analyzability. Crafts work, both task variability and task analyzability are low. For engineering production, both task variability and task analyzability are high, and non-routine research, for example, it is characterized by high task variability and low task analyzability. So, as per theory of Charles Perrow, when the technology is routine, employees perform clearly defined tasks, work process is programmed and work is mostly standardized. So, this when the task is standardized, it is mostly controlled by the top management and the employees who are working in the organization have less to say, or they have very minimal control over the task. So, where there is the formalized rules, regulations are being followed in order to or the programmed instructions which have been already given are being followed. So, therefore, the organization follows a mechanistic type of structure. For a non-routine technology requires the organization to develop structure that allows people, the employees, to respond quickly to manage exceptions, any kind of error, or customize solutions to create new solutions for the clients. So, where there is mostly decentralization is being followed, there is more variability in the task as per the client's needs. So, the organization does not follow strict hierarchical structure or does not follow formalization. There is organic structure mostly being preferred, because the task has to be catered to the need of the clients. So, based on the knowledge based technology, Perrow's contribution says that Perrow has defined technology as the action that an individual performs upon an object, or with or without the aid of tool or the task exceptions, mechanical devices, in order to make some changes in that object. There are two underlying dimensions of knowledge technology. The first dimension considers the number of exceptions which have been encountered in one's work. Labeled task variability, these exceptions will be few in number if the job is very high in routines. The second dimension assesses the type of search procedures or the search for alternatives followed to find successful methods to respond adequately. Variables which are used to measure technology, variability and analyzability. The variability concept talks about number of exceptions to standard procedure that tend to occur, and analyzability is the predictability or difficulty of the required work, how much difficult or complex the work is. Task variability is based on how many of these tasks are the same from day to day life. To what extent would you say your work is routine? Like if the work is routine type, like in the production process, the repetitive processes are being followed. The employees who are working in the production facility will not have much to say, or they do not have much to intervene in the process, because it is already, the process is already well defined and there is a technology which is taking care of the production process. People in this unit do about the same job, they continue to perform the same job in the same way most of the time. There is not much variation. Basically, unit members perform repetitive activities in doing their job. How much repetitiveness is there in the duty? So, there is mostly every day you work on the same task again and again, and there is less of variability. Problem analyzability is another dimension. It explains about to what extent is there a clearly known way to do the major type of work normally that we encounter. Like for example, to what extent is there a clearly defined body of knowledge of the subject matter which can guide you in doing your work? Is there any existing information available to perform the task? Is there any kind of a procedure which is available to perform the work? To what extent there is the well defined sequence of steps that can be followed in doing your work? To what extent can you actually rely on the established procedures and practices? How far you can understand the sequence of steps that can be followed in carrying out your work? So, Charles Perrow's model suggests that there is a nature of an organization's task depending on the variability component and analyzability component. It is a primary determinant of organization structure. That means, variability, how much is the task variable and what is the complexity associated with the task. These two factors are the primary determinant of organization structure. Technology have been categorized based on characteristics of the task, task variability, low variability, high variability, problem analyzability based on high and low analyzability. So, task variability is the number of unexpected events, new instances that occur during the conversion process of raw materials to finished goods. There are various processes which help in conversion of the raw materials to the finished goods or output. If there is low variability in the task with few exceptions or new situations or unforeseen circumstances such as a routine assembly line, an assembly line encounters some kind of problem which is something very few or exceptional event. High variability is tasks with many unexpected situations which may evolve during the strategic planning or basic research. So, there is high variability. For example, you are launching a new product. So, you are facing unforeseen situations, unexpected events, there may be pressures from external factors which may or the competitor's product with a new variation or new or suddenly there is a fall in demand. So, all these are unexpected situations or task is very complex or not very clear cut. Problem analyzability, degree to which standard mechanical steps can be followed to respond to task exceptions. The degree to which the standardized procedures or sequential steps of actions can be followed to respond to the exceptions. There is like some unforeseen situations or exceptional situations have come, but there is a well placed or laid out solution given. So, the task of the problem analyzability can be highly analyzable or it can be low analyzability. So, when problems are well defined and a logical systematic approach can be used to find a solution, it is called highly analyzable problem. With low analyzability problem, the problems are very difficult to analyze and require intuition, experience, creativity of an individual to solve that problem. So, these two dimensions, task variability and problem analyzability, can be used to construct a matrix, 2 by 2 matrix. The 4 cells in this matrix represent 4 different types of technology, which we earlier called as a routine technology, engineering, craft and non-routine technology. So, let us understand what is a routine technology. Routine technology has few exceptions and it is easy to analyze the problems. The mass production processes used to make steel or automobiles or to refine petroleum belongs to this category of routine technology. They have a well placed technology and there are very few exceptions and easy to analyze problems, like if some error has occurred or there is a some breakdown has happened. So, it is very easy to overcome that problem and the employees can find out a solution. For engineering technologies have a large number of exceptions, but they can be handled in a rational or logical manner or a very systematic manner. The third aspect is the craft technology, which deals with relatively difficult problems, but with a limited set of exceptions. They have few exceptions. Finally, the non-routine technology are characterized by many exceptions. There are different problems and difficult to analyze problems. So, based on this, the 2 cross 2 matrix has one on the one hand there is problem analyzability, on the x axis there is task variability, y axis has problem analyzability. So, there are 4 quadrants, one talks about routine, engineering, craft and non-routine problems. What we have discussed is routine is used for mass production. There is high formalization, high centralization, moderate specialization, high degree of standardization, low degree of complexity and high hierarchy authority relationship. For engineering, where there is a complex design, complex kind of design elements of organizational structure, moderate formalization, there is moderate centralization, high degree of specialization because there is a complex design, then moderate standardization and moderate complexity and lastly there is also moderate hierarchy authority relationship. For craft, that is for example furniture making or jewelry making, which is the product is designed based on custom made products, tailor made products. So, there the design elements which are preferred is moderate formalization, moderate centralization, moderate specialization, degree of specialization is moderate, and low to moderate standardization, processes are standardized, low moderate standardization, high complexity, and there is low hierarchy authority relationship. Then for non-routine technology, that is strategic planning or for research organizations, there is low degree of formalization because it requires flexibility. You have to there are unforeseen situations which may occur, you have to have a unique solution. So, there is low centralization, low degree of specialization, low standardization, and very high complexity because the nature of task is complex, the problems are unique, and hierarchy authority relationship is also very low. So, what we have discussed is the high analyzability and low analyzability and low variety and high variety for the skilled traders, for scientific research, for engineering projects and for assembly line. So, what we have understood from this discussion is Perrow has identified the key aspects of structure. The organization's technology need to be aligned with the structure in order to be effective. They have identified the key aspects of the structure that could be modified to the technology. Higher the complexity, that will have an impact on the structure, because if the technology and the structure are aligned, that will result in effectiveness of organizations. The amount of discretion that can be exercised for completing the task, the power of groups to control the unit's goal and basic strategies, to what extent the interdependence between these two groups and to the extent these two groups engage in coordination of the task or the work using either feedback or the planning of others. The next we will discuss about the task interdependence based on the theory of James Thompson, and he says that task interdependence in the technology defines structure of an organization. Task interdependence, as we know that the manner in which different organizational tasks are related to one another affects the organization's technology and structure. The nature of task is not always is not very simple. There is complex task which requires interdependence of resources in the organizations, interdependence of technology and the people, which is also very important in defining the structure. There are broadly three types of technology. One is mediating, long linked technology and intensive technology. What are these? Let us understand in more details. Long linked technology, if the tasks or operators are sequentially interdependent, as Thompson has called them as linked, the technology is characterized by a fixed sequence of repetitive steps. What is mediating technology? Where the technology links clients on both input and output side of organizations. Technology is mediator, playing the role of a mediator between the clients and the employees. Banks, telephone utilities, most large retail stores, computer dating service, employment and welfare agencies and post offices, where the resources are being utilized to perform better services or to have better products and services. Most of the technologies which are used in banking sector, in telephone utilities, in retail stores, there it is called mediating technology. The third category of the technology, which is intensive technology, represents a customized response to a diverse set of contingencies. There are different contingency factors and customized response is given to a diverse set of contingencies. The exact response depends on nature of the problem and the variety of problem and cannot be predicted accurately. So, this includes technologies dominant in hospitals, universities, research centers and research labs, full service management consultancy firms or military combat teams. Thompson's insights into structural terminology has been defined based on task interdependence, the manner in which different tasks are related to one another affects the organization's technology. Broadly, there are three kinds of technology: mediating, long linked and intensive. Mediating technology is characterized by work process in which input, conversion and output can be performed independently of one another. Each part of the organization contributes to the performance of the whole unit. Long linked technology is based on a work process by which input and output conversion, and output activities must be performed in sequence or links based on sequential task, interdependence. Action of one person or department directly affects another person or other departments. There are slack resources, surplus resources that enable organizations to deal with unexpected situations. If there is a scarcity of resource, then the slack resource can be used to continue the performance. Intensive technology is a technology which is characterized by a process in which input and output activities are inseparable based on reciprocal task interdependence. The activities of all people and the departments are fully dependent on one another. Specialism producing only a narrow range of output. So, task interdependence and the type of technology. For mediating technology, the form of task interdependence is there is a piecework of franchise or pooled. Main type of coordination is standardized. The process is mostly standardized with formal rules, regulations and well laid procedures. Strategy for reducing uncertainty would be increase in the number of customers being served, and the cost of coordination is very low. Long linked technology, where there is a sequential event of tasks, for example, in assembly line or in a continuous process production. Main type of coordination is required during planning and scheduling of activities, and strategy for reducing uncertainty will be using slack resources or vertical integration. What is vertical integration? Vertical integration is where the firm is having access to resource and the firm is also having control over its distribution channel. And the cost of coordination is medium in case of the long linked technology. For intensive technology, where the task, for example, in hospitals, research and development laboratory, where there is reciprocal interdependence is required, the technology main type of coordination is mostly required for mutual adjustment, where one department is having lack of resources or there is surplus of resources in another and they depend on each other for the technology. So, the intensive technology, the technology will be mostly efficient based on how efficient is the coordination, mutual adjustment is possible between different departments. Strategy for reducing uncertainty, specialization of task activities. So, each of them develop their specialization, and lastly the cost of coordination is very high because all of them have a different agenda. So, what we have discussed is, we have discussed the role of technology, we discussed about the Perrow's technology and how it has played an important role in defining organizational structure. We have also discussed about task and variability component, problem analyzability and task variability, discussed about routine technology, engineering, craft technology and non-routine technology. We have also discussed about the definition given by James Thompson in terms of task interdependence and the three types of technology, the role, the correlation between how is the task interdependent on each other, the manner in which different tasks are related to one another and which has an effect on organizations, technology and structure. There are broadly three types of technology based on the nature of interdependence: mediating, long linked and intensive. So, then finally, we have discussed about for each type of technology like mediating, long linked and intensive technology, what is the cost of coordination, what is the strategy for reducing uncertainty and main type of coordination and form of task interdependence. Thank you.